Hello everyone and welcome to KO Creations Cards. Today I will be making a card that uses this stamp set called Floral Statements. It is on page 163 of the 2017-2018 catalogue, and if you're looking for the code it's 144701. I thoroughly love this stamp set. It's so very versatile. I've made one card already, but this isn't the one we'll be making today. I made this as a sample for a challenge that I have on my own team page. So that's the sample card that's for the challenge for that. The card we'll be making today is using Berry Burst and Lemon Lime Twist, and we'll be doing this and making a little bow and finishing it off that way. And what I'm going to do is show you how I colour my images, yes. And this is on thick Whisper White cardstock. I'm not sure if everyone understands that you can colour on watercolour on other cardstocks other than watercolour paper. The trick is to be quick. Now, excuse me while I just have a seat. We've got our Berry Burst. We've got our aqua painters. We've got two different size tips. We have a fine tip and a wide tip. For this one, I'll be using the wide tip. And we've pressed our ink into the lid. I've got a semi-dry little baby wipe here. This is just to wipe off excess water. Now we don't want too much water to start with. We're just picking up a little bit of colour. And we're going to start in the darkest parts first. We're just going to add the colour into these darkest areas, being as quick as we can. Picking up more colour if needed. Now, watercolour dries lighter than what it goes on. So if you're thinking, oh my goodness, this is really, really dark, just wait until it dries a little bit. I have one already prepared just to show you how quickly, how much it dries in between coats. And you should, by rights, probably do about, I'd say two layers, and then a final one for highlights. Now we've got, this is where we add our water, so we squeeze a little bit out because we don't want as much colour. And now we're just going to wash the colour over. See how quick that is? I'm just going to wash that colour. If you want a little bit more, add it in so it bleeds. Okay, that's our Berry Burst layer. Just taking that little bit of excess water out of the lid because we don't want water going into our ink. Now we're going to move on to our Lemon Lime Twist. Squeezing ink into the lid first. Getting any excess ink out of them here. Now again, we don't want too much water to start off with, just a little bit to pick the colour up, and we're going to do the same again. We're going to colour the darker areas first. And it's a really quick, you can't spend a lot of time on cardstock that's not meant for watercolour. You definitely, as you can see, you can do it and it works quite well, but you can't play with it. You haven't got that ability to blend and move the colours. And to make life easier for yourself, don't rub backwards and forwards. Try and keep your motions in one direction. Not a very good band, I don't think. I'm not fond of One Direction, but then again, I'm not 14 anymore. Right, so now we've got our colour in the darker areas where we want it. We're going to spread this colour, so we're going to add a little bit more water. We're going to water wash the colour through. That's a bit too much water, Kim. Yep. And just one direction, spreading that colour out. You don't have to go right to the edges, because remember, you've got to put highlights in. I'll just get the excess water out of the lid there. Now that's our first layer. You can see the dark and the light. Right. And it's already starting to lighten off. This is one I've done earlier. That's lightened off a lot. Now what I'm going to do here is just darken up some of these darker areas. Once again, we'll be using our berry burst. I've still got some ink left in the top of the lid here. I'm not going to put any more water in. I'm not squeezing this. If there's too much water, take it out. Here is where you're actually adding in the darker highlights, I suppose, is one way, but they're not really, they're shadows. Yeah. Getting a bit of water excess there. So we're going to just add the deepest and darkest of the colours into these shadowed areas. I hope I'm still in shot here. Because this is more detailed work is why I don't want the brush too wet. So if you find you've got a brush, have a tissue handy. If you're getting too much water, just squeeze that excess out. And it makes your control just that little bit easier. And I was just finding the last little bits of deeper, darker colour. In. That's all we have to do there. Now we're going to do this with our green lemon lime twist. See how much that's already starting to dry off? It doesn't take long to dry, especially when you're not using too much water. Now I do need some more green here. Make sure I've got no pink left in the here. Again, not any more water than what drips out on its own. We don't want to squeeze it. So now we're just adding in our darker colour to the centre of our leaves. The fact that it's already got a lot of black for the shadowing makes colouring, if you're not used to doing light and dark and highlights, a lot easier, because it directs you as to where you're going to add your shadow, where you can add your highlights. So up in here, where it's a bit darker, just go a little bit darker. You don't have to be too precise. And again, we're all still moving in the one direction. Adding a little bit of darker colour onto the edge of the stalk. And that, my friends, is pretty much that. Now, what you can do, if you've got your Stampin' Up markers in your in colours, which I do have, excuse me while I reach across and get my Stampin' Up markers. Oh, I think I may have already got them out, so I've got arms going in view for no reason. Here they are. Here's the two that we're looking for. We've got them in Berry Burst, thick and thin end. I love these. Now, this is still a little bit damp, but it shouldn't matter too much. What I'm going to do is just go in close, again where it's the darkest, and really deepen that colour with the pen. So this is a mixture of watercolour painting and adding a bit of watercolour with your pen. And again, we do it on the others, where the shadow is. And that is looking really nice. Now, to bring that to life just that little bit more, this is where I have a little trick for you. I learnt this trick, and I think it was from Melinda Crable. I'm not sure how you pronounce her name. I think she may be a French lady. She's on... sorry, I'm whispering for some reason. I learnt this little technique, I think it was from Melinda Crable, from watching one of her videos. I wouldn't have used the re-inker on its own like this, although I do colour with re-inkers, so I maybe would have got there eventually on my own, but I actually have to give Melinda Crable credit for this. Well, I'm assuming I've got the name right. Crable. She did some flowers here. Oh goodness, it'd be months ago, months and months and months ago. And she highlighted with her craft re-inker. Now you can see the lighter areas naturally in watercolouring anyway. To make them pop and really come to life, we're just going to make sure your brush is as dry as can be. Put some on the tip and just go in and where it's the lightest, go in and add more white. Really bring it. Don't be afraid if you think it needs a little bit more in other areas. But this is one of the good things about watercolouring and not being precise. Just need a little bit more. And there we go. And adding highlights to the tops of the petals. Just like so. Now anyone can do this, just with a little bit of practice of where you're going to put your highlights, an understanding of shadows. If you look outside in everyday life, you'll see the direction the sun shines. What shines on gives you your reflection and your light spots. Where the sun doesn't reach, of course, gives you your shadows. So apply that to your painting. Imagine which way the light would shine and which way the leaf or the petal is facing. So if you've got light shining down on top. That's where you're going to have the brightest whited out, a bit like having too much exposure on your camera. You know, that's where you're going to have that colour loss. Would be the only way to put that. So you're going to have your colour loss where it's the light's shining directly on. I think just grab a little bit more white, a little bit in here again. Now this takes a little bit longer to dry, and we can heat dry it, but I'm not going to today because I've got one already done and it's just sitting there waiting to be put together. So basically that's how I watercolour and highlight on my images. The majority of my images I do this way now, with the final stage being the highlighting with the craft ink refill, and remembering not to use a lot of water and cleaning your brush in between. You must make sure you have your white out. If you haven't got your white off your brush, it will go into your ink and it will contaminate. So making sure your tools are clean before putting them away is a really good habit to get into. And that is clean. Awesome. I'll clean that little bit of white ink off there. I'll get a clean pad. I'll put these off to the side to dry, and they can be for later. Now what I've done here is I've trimmed my cardstock down to 9.8 by 14. That's the white piece, so that's 9.8 this way and 14 centimeters that way. Then I've glued this over the top of a berry burst cardstock and then trimmed it. Instead of trimming the cardstock first underneath, I glued it on top and then trimmed it, and that way I know I've got the precise size that I want. I always fold an A4 piece in half and then cut it at 10.5. That's how the majority of my cards are actually done. So what I'm going to do is pop that down. I think I might just glue that straight over the top. It's a pretty simple card. You can see how I've done the same technique that I showed you a moment ago. Now I'm just going to add the glue. Now this is where your wipes come in handy. So I put that a little bit thick in spots, and I don't want it squeezing out underneath too much. So making sure I burnished that. Popping that over. Maneuver it a little bit and make sure you've got it where you want. I love how striking that is. Just on its own, that's just a stamp. Stamping and colouring and then laying with coordinating cardstock. Doesn't that look amazing? I think it does. Now all I'm going to do here is add a little berry burst ribbon, and that will be popped on with a dimensional. Then I can find my paper piercing tool to pick my dimensional up with. But first I might just show you how to make a ribbon, how I do my bows. Now I was taught this little trick from Kayla McCauley. She learned it off somebody else. We all learn from each other. That's what I love about Stampin' Up. One big happy family, and we're all teaching each other little tricks. Now I'm trying to see over the top of my camera here. You've got your two. Now I want to try and make a small, probably even a fraction smaller than that one. I'm holding this with my thumb tight. I'm going to wrap that and hold that with my thumb as well. Poke that through. Bring it around. Okay. Get it out. And we are going to, because I want it smaller, pull that straight up like so. And have I got a smaller bow? Let's see. Yes, I have. So making sure it's all tight, trimming my edges, my bow, and I think I actually have got a slightly smaller bow. Beautiful. How was that? If you didn't get that, I'm sure you can play it back in slow motion. I think I might make the edges of these a little bit smaller too. Now, using a paper piercing tool and your glue dot, pop that down where you want it and pop your bow on top. I love my glue dots. I hail glue dots. I eat them. Glue dots and dimensionals. Wow. Oh, look, there's an ant. Bye-bye, ant. Animal cruelty. Oh no. Go away, ant. How did you get into my craft room? Now I think to finish that off I might just pop in a couple of glitter dots. And that will finish this card off. One here and maybe a darker one just there. What do you reckon? Thank you very much for watching me today, and I hope you enjoyed what I've shown you. Bye for now.